And the first and probably most important is the political paradigm. The political paradigm was that since we cannot solve the conflict between us and Palestinians, all what we did failed. So the only way to do it now is managing the conflict. So the policy was managing the conflict and not to try to solve it. And in order to do it, we had to do something which we call divide and rule, meaning we have to make sure that Palestinians will not have a unified leadership, to make sure that we should always be able to say that nobody to talk with, nothing to talk about. And in order to do it, we had to make sure that Hamas will go on controlling Gaza, and the Palestinian Authority, supported by Fatah, will go on leading Palestinians in the West Bank, and they will create a conflict. They will, in a way, almost fight each other. And in order to do it, we had to do all what we did, enhancing or assisting Hamas, transferring money, enabling people to work in Israel, etc., etc. And probably without our intention, we found ourselves strengthening Hamas and weakening Palestinian Authority. Once we did it, and what we saw on the Palestinian street, that Hamas is getting support, Palestinian support, because they became the only group or administration in the eyes of the Palestinians who fought against the Israeli occupation and in order to achieve Palestinian freedom. So on the other hand, Fatah and Palestinian Authority were perceived by Israeli collaborators, because until today, they refuse formally to use violence. And although they are very weak, they still are trying from time to time to fight Palestinian terror, especially in Jenin, Nablus, wherever they can. They cannot do much because, as I said, today, and this is a great change, big change from the 90s, between 70 to 80% of the Palestinians are supporting Hamas only because Hamas is perceived as the one who fight for its freedom. This paradigm led us to a kind of intelligence paradigm or understanding that that Hamas is the third. Now, why Hamas is the third? By the way I understand it, in order to agree or to accept this assumption, it makes sure that you do not understand and you do not know what is Hamas all about. Because the way I see it, we Israelis are measuring hardware and they measure software, meaning what we measure after every round of violence or a military campaign, we measure their losses in human life, in military installations and in military infrastructure. And on the other hand, what they measure the support of the people, the support of the Palestinian street. Now, this assumption that Hamas is the third was based on the idea that yes, on the May 21, they suffered a huge loss and a huge military defeat. But on the other hand, we did not read the Halil Shkaki polls. And Halil Shkaki polls showed us a horrible picture in which it was the first time in which Hamas got more than 50% of the support of the Palestinian people, when Abu Mazen became between 20 to 25% of the Palestinians. So after every round of violence, after every military campaign, we say, okay, from now on, they are deterred for several years, and they understand it as a huge victory.